Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Listen, we have a few questions. If you don't mind, just answering a couple of them.
No problem, no problem.
Great. What is your favorite breakfast meal?
Well, this is a great morning. I was just preparing some. My favorite breakfast is normally not what I'm cooking today, but it's something I was in the kitchen doing some scrambled eggs for the kids and the wife. And so it's not normally my favorite, but it's something that I normally knock up when I'm just doing something. So, how are you?
I'm great. Um, well, I also want to know, what is your favorite Bahamian dish?
My favorite Bahamian dish got to be some nice, juicy boiled fish with bread with a light bit of butter on top, nicely seasoned, little extra peppers. You know how Bahamians go; we like it a little pepper. So that's my favorite Bahamian dish.
Tea or coffee?
I'm a tea guy. I love tea. I never got into the coffee crave. I like it, but I'm not addicted to it. But I prefer tea.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. One quick question. What is one word you would use to describe your husband?
Visionary.
Mrs. Stewart, one word you would use to describe your wife?
A detailer. She is very detail oriented.
How long have you been married?
Tell him.
Me or him?
Tell him.
16 years in October.
1-6. All my life. Well,
I'll take over from here. Thank you.
Who is the person that inspired you most?
it got to be the late Dr. Miles Monroe. He was definitely the person that I met when I was 14 years old when I walked into BFM. I'm 50 now, and over the last many, many years, my foundation of my life, from understanding my purpose, developing my potential, all came out of Dr. Miles Monroe's teaching. And so he gave me the foundation. At that time, I wasn't interested in going off to college, but when I met him, my whole life has changed. And then I went off to college. I got my associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree. And so I attribute a lot to my life to him.
What is one place in the world you'd really like to visit?
It got to be Africa. I want to see the pyramids of Giza because it's a testament of the greatness of a people some 3,000 years ago. We thought that, these people were primitive, but you see what they did, building the pyramids of Giza and building a civilization that to this day we can't figure out how they did it. And so, and we are all a part of the African diaspora. And, their greatness is something that makes me marvel, and I would love to see.
What is your favorite Bahamian island and why?
Oh, the Bahamas has many great islands, but I got to love Exuma. I think He lives in Exuma. Because when you see how the turquoise waters are stretched out, and when you go into Georgetown, up in Ruleville, in Barataria, and all of the waters are just crystal clear, and it's just a tranquil place. And so I love Exuma, because Exuma is really, really a good place. Now, Ilutra got some good beaches too, mind you, but Exuma got some very, very good beaches.
If you could change only one thing about the country, what would it be?
I think the mindset of the people. I think if we began to speak the same language and the same message, I think we'll be unstoppable as a people. I think when you look at the history of the Bahamas and you see how Bahamians are demonstrated on the international market through track and field and sports, when we are determined, and nothing can stop us. And so as a small country like the Bahamas, in any Olympic race, we're always out front. And so it goes to show you what we can do once we put our mind to it. And so I would want to strengthen that core competency of us being one as a people. Now, our coat of arms says forward, upward, onward, together. I think it's time that we live that. And once we live that, we'll be unstoppable.
What's the one thing you wouldn't change?
The one thing I would not change our geographical location and all of the natural resources that we have. Because I've visited many countries in the world, and when I've been to every continent, I've been to every island in the Caribbean, but none can compare to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, because God has given us the most, I can say it in Bahamian, beautifulness, islands in the world, and fresh air, clean water. It's just that we have to come together as a people and appreciate what we have. And once we do that, nothing can stop us.
Apple phone or Android?
Got to be Android. Apple is too dominating and restrictive. So Android allows you to have a lot of freedom with their technology, and it's open source. Apple is not very restrictive. I develop apps as well, so I know.
Favorite song?
I love the song Jerusalem. It's a new song. Well, it's new to us, but it's been out during the COVID-19 crisis. And it's a song that made the world come together under one common theme. That, listen, even though we're going through a lot of crisis right now, we're quarantined, we're locked down, just think of heaven as your home, Jerusalem as your home, and that's your new kingdom. But also giving you something to aspire for, and it brings people together. So I got a treat for you, I think.
Favorite movie?
Got to be Russell Crowe Gladiators. Are you not entertained? And I think he did a very, very good job in that movie by showing what you can do even though all the odds are against you. And so it is important that, you learn from everything you see, everything you watch. And so, Gladiator.
Why politics?
I didn't choose politics. Politics chose me. I believe that every one of us in our country have an obligation to give back. And so, for me as a young person, I was selected I was selected when I was very young as the most distinguished youth in the Bahamas. And then I was also selected as a Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations for 3 years. I was a part of the first Youth Parliament. And so for me, I've been groomed and trained on the international level, and I just wanted to be able to give back to my country. We all see deficiencies, we see things that should not be going right or not going right, and if we can bring or lend our resources or our talents to make it better, then we all should do that. And it's an obligation for us to make sure that we can all be a part of building our nation.
What's your biggest regret?
As you get older, and you begin to think back on the things that happened to you, good and bad, you realize that there is nothing really to regret. It's a lot of mistakes that were made, but you learn from those mistakes. A lot of the decisions you made makes you the person you are today. And so for me, I have no regrets. It's just a lot of areas in my life where I learned from, and where I was able to grow and become a better man from.
What's your proudest moment?
When I look at all my accomplishments, my associate's, bachelor's, master's degree, my accomplishment of being a Goodwill Ambassador to the UN, I'm an author, all these things pale in comparison to having children. I always tell people the greatest joy that you can have is having children. That you fall in love, you love your wife, you love this, but when you see your children for the first time, you love them times 100. And so it's a love that you never knew you could possess, and that's what you see when you see your children for the first time. And so my greatest accomplishment is also to see them grow, and from infancy to growth. And so I have 4 daughters, one in college, that's 19, 17, 16, 14, in that interval. And Cassie and Kelly is here with me today. But, these guys marveled me because when I see what they're doing, this is Cassidy. She's doing very well. She took 7 BJCs in grade 8, and she normally takes them in grade 9, but she got 5 A's, a B, and a C, and so which was a good accomplishment. And she is on track to becoming the head girl for Queen's College. And this is Raquel. Raquel was first runner-up in the primary school student of the year overall in the whole country. And when she took a GLAT in grade last 3, she did 7 A's, all A's. And so, you know, if I had done what they are doing now, you know, the world I would have been much further than I am. But, you know, as a parent, it's my job to steer them and to push them and to groom them and develop them. Because if you want to see a beautiful flower or beautiful tree, you got to groom it, you got to cultivate it, you got to cut it and prune it. And so I've been pruning and cutting, and they ain't too bad.
Favorite animal?
Goldfish. For your teeth, my animal. Cool.
Goldfish. I like goldfish.
I don't have a favorite animal.
I thought cockroaches were your favorite animals.
No, she like lizards.
No, I hate lizards.
She hate every animal.
Okay, finish this. Red light, green light.
Stop.
No, it's 1, 2, 3.
Sorry.
Red light, green light, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Bubblegum, bubblegum.
In a dish, how many bubble gums do you wish in a bubble gum dish?
I don't know.
Yes, how many bubble gums do you wish in a bubble gum dish?
I don't know. Anyway, bubblegum. Mm.
What other profession did you consider?
I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to fly for Bahamas Air. So when I went off to school, I went to Tertiary Air, and my college at the time, Miami-Dade, had this pilot license course, and I was engaged in that, but it was becoming too expensive to fly and pay school fees at the same time. So I had to make a choice. So I chose business administration, and then I later on went on to get my associates in business, and then bachelor's and master's. But I really wanted to fly a plane. An interesting thing though, I used to fly when I was in Miami, and now I'm scared to fly.
What's the happiest day of your life?
For me, I try to make every day happy for me because, you know, you have to find those little space and time where you can enjoy life. And for me, being in the yard, being in the garden brings me happiness. When I see my flowers blooming, it makes me smile, makes me feel good. After all of the hustle and bustle, the stress of dealing with this problem, that problem, and my trees come home, and I come home and my trees ain't got no problem. They just smiling at me. And then when I come and I see my pineapple that's growing, that is not any Lutra, but you know, I feel good. I'm also growing some rose trees. I'm growing some hibiscus. And so me, I try to find a sacred spot where I could just get away from everything and enjoy nature, enjoy life. And I'll show you some of my rose trees. Come on. This is a basil tree that I'm working on. But I just caught some rose trees that is very, very good and very, very beautiful. The fragrance is really, really good. And then I also am working with some white hibiscus. This is a very unique hibiscus plant. Really beautiful. And then also my yellow hibiscus. So these are the things, this is what I love to do. When I come home from work, I'm in the backyard all day. Me and my mosquitoes and my plants.
What's the saddest day of your life?
I've had some sad days. I mean, the other day my father passed away. What makes me sad is that so many Bahamians are dying from cancer of some form. He died from pancreatic cancer. And, you know, it breaks my heart to know that, you know, we still don't know what is causing the high level of cancer in our country, what is killing us. And so, you know, we got to fix that. And so that makes me sad. It breaks my heart. But I think it is important that we address these issues so that other generations of Bahamians are not affected by it.
What's your favorite pastime?
My favorite pastime is in the yard. I'm an outdoor kind of guy. Growing up in Balls Alley, we were always outside, we were always in the yard, we were always in somebody's coconut tree, plum tree, ganap tree, juju tree, dilly tree. And so, you know, for me, I try to replicate that. You know, I try to make sure that All the trees that we used to climb when we were young, that I have it in my yard now, from cherry tree to guava tree to pomegranates to mango to peach to blueberry to blackberry to coconuts to pineapples. So I got everything in my space. So I ain't got to go in somebody else's yard. So
What's your greatest life lesson?
the greatest life lesson is, very good question. My greatest life lesson is to, try to be your brother's keeper. I always wondered why, when I read scripture, it says that, the greatest commandment is love one another. It's because if you love somebody, you ain't gonna hurt them. You ain't gonna take advantage of them. You ain't gonna treat them. And so all the commandments are summed up in one. Love one another. And then Jesus added the 11th commandment. Love one another if I've loved you. And so for me, that's my greatest life lesson.
What's your favorite dance move?
That's a good question. I told you I had a treat for you, right? So come on, I got a treat for you. I'm going to show you all a good dance. Guys, you all ready? We got a treat. We're going to do the Jerusalem dance. You all cue that up so that we could show them how it is done.
All right, what are we going to do over there?
We do it right over here. You all ready, guys?
My second dance. So y'all got to go.
You all ready? Where we going? How we going? Jerusalem. Yeah, listen, that is Jerusalem dance. It is a song of celebration, a song of praise. And it is an opportunity for the world to come together and say, listen, forget the COVID-19, forget everything else. We can do whatever we can if we put our minds to it, and we can be one as a people. And so thank you so much for coming to my home. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Mwah.